All right, I can't close the app.
All right, what's going on, people? Welcome to Drama Free Gaming. It is what it says, and it says what it is. This is DFG Podcast number 69, and tonight we are going to have the one and only Henyo with us. What's going on, Henyo?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm here just ready to roll, not trying to stretch this out any longer than it has to be. Kind of wanted to get Dark Dad with us tonight, but he's not going to be available, so it's just going to be you and me tonight, man. So
hey, man, we're going to miss Sleek too, man. Sleek got some serious news.
Yeah, man. We hopefully, I mean, I reached out to Sleek and said, hey, you want to jump on and fill us in on your PAX East adventures, and so he might jump on. Who knows? He might be listening. He might hear after the fact, but we'll see. We'll get him on here eventually. So what's going on, man? How's life?
Good, busy, man. Busy life, man. All consuming as always.
It's been that season. You've just been busy.
Yeah, man.
You've been
thankfully, it keeps us busy and keeps us going, right?
Yeah, man. Keeps us out of trouble, right? Some busyness in life.
That's for sure.
Keeps us out of trouble, bro.
Yeah, that's what I tell my wife when we're looking at the news. We're like, see right there, that's somebody that doesn't have anything to do in life.
Right. I can't figure that out. I never allowed my kids to say, I'm bored, I got nothing to do, because there's always something to do. There's always something to do, man. Yeah. I mean,
my wife was the same way.
Yeah.
Since the kids were little, she always kept them busy, kept them doing this, kept me busy, kept me going.
Yeah. Sounds like my wife, man. My wife is just like a ball of energy, bro. She's she's happiest with me when I'm actually doing something, that she considers productive. So I don't know, man. I don't get it.
And here I sit going, damn, why are you making me work, woman?
Yeah, right. It's like, it's my day off. Like, there's no such thing, bro. No such thing, man. But yeah, man, I want to jump into this tonight, man, just because there's a lot of news, and I just want us to kind of chime in, put our 2 cents in. And so far, I think YouTube is cooperating with us, and I don't see anything going haywire on my end. So first and foremost, I just want to apologize for the terrible Resident Evil 2 gameplay that you guys are watching right now. It's terrible. Okay, I suck at this genre. Never mind the game, I suck at the genre. And I'm in a part in Resident Evil 2. I actually picked it up after quite some time. And I have absolutely no idea where I am, what I have to do. So I just recorded like an hour and change. What was that?
You just mashing buttons and moving the joystick.
Man, it's not even a button masher. It's like a Metroidvania. So I'm at a point where I've killed like the zombies and pretty much found all the hidden things and whatnot. And I'm just going like through like clearing rooms and whatnot. So the gameplay is very bland, except for a couple of encounters that I have. But other than that, man, it's whatever, bro. It's whatever at this point. But yeah, man, let's jump into it. You definitely have been playing MLB, right?
Hey.
How's that,
Yeah,
bro?
man.
Let's talk about
How's the
MLB,
game?
man. I got some questions for you about not only the game, but just MLB in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
what's
stuff, man. They sped up the game,
uh-huh.
the real game, new rules,
Yes.
you know, preventing, gameplay from what we've seen in the last couple of years, and MLB The Show, you know, another year, another great game, man. New content, new, upgraded graphics and gameplay and animations. It's all good, man. This is the one game I play all year long, man.
Right, right,
It's really
right.
good.
Right. So how's the leap from last year to this year when let's talk about the game for a little bit. How you feeling about the game itself?
Good. I think one of the cooler things that they did this year was just bring awareness of the Negro League.
Okay.
And they feed it to you in a seasonal thing in which they're introducing you players that you rarely ever heard of outside of um you know Robinson.
Mhm.
So Satchel Paige and the others like that. And they kind of bring you into those times. Even graphically. The fans in the seats even dress up the part. So they
Really?
did a really good job with that. It's almost like not a storyline, but just like a brief walk through history
Okay.
and what these players meant to baseball. I mean, you know, just a great opportunity to learn,
Mhm.
about the game and its, legacy. I thought that was a really cool part. That's just like a separate segment of the game.
Mhm.
And, by going through these, like, they call it seasons, but basically you're playing as a player in situational
Mhm.
settings. And, after completing like eight boards, so to speak, you get the player's baseball card, and you can bring that baseball card and play in your Diamond Dynasty, which
Mhm.
is another segment of the game in which you can play online, co-op, single player, just a plethora of gameplay. So, I think that's the highlight of the game right there, though, bringing in the Negro League. Really good, really, I mean, it was just so long overdue.
So it's not the first time that they've done something like this, right? That they've introduced historical players before, but now it just sounds like they've made a concentration of the Negro League and introducing, like you said, players that probably just the regular fan has never heard of.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool,
exactly.
cool.
It was a history lesson, pretty much, for that, particular
Mm.
part of the game, and it was one that's I'm enjoying it. I'm still playing it. I think you get something like 8 players to play through,
Hmm.
and you hear a little. They have like little storylines before you actually do the gameplay, and then you go in as that player and execute certain scenarios. And I mean, it's just really good. It's being told by the president of the Negro League, the Negro League Museum
Okay,
president.
okay.
So, it's firsthand knowledge, and it's just, I mean, it's really good, man. It's just, I don't know how to say it, man. I mean, when I was watching the streaming of this, before the game came out,
Hmm.
Ramon was, interviewing him, and like at the end of the stream, Ramon just broke down and cried because he
Wow.
knew how much this means to him and to the community to like, embrace the Negro League and what it brought to baseball. And it was a really like touching moment, something that you normally don't see from like, someone who develops a game, and to be so involved and like, that's a part of his soul. That's one thing that Ramon will always, bring to this game is his heart and soul into it. And that's why I think the game is such a success.
Nice, nice, nice. They definitely vested in the project itself, and it's
Hmm.
great to see, MLB the show just every year just setting the standard and continuing to bring that excellence in a baseball simulator and just giving us just an excellent game, man. I mean, I haven't played it myself. I played last year's just to test it out, and I was just like, I was blown away by the details, the attention to details, the intricacy, the building of or the I should say the like the stadium creator. I didn't get into it, but I saw other people like actually doing that as well.
Yeah, that was one part of the game.
Yeah,
Seeing
man.
people's creations of it.
Yeah, it's I mean, it makes me wonder what more is there to come. Like I hate talking that way because the game just dropped not too long ago, but you're already thinking what more can they do? Like what more are they going to add to this game to just take it to another level? What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, every year I say the same thing. What's next? This year, the whole Negro League thing, and like more animations. They just keep adding more
Mm,
animations, and now, I mean, I think that the biggest improvement they did was like the sound and the feel of the bat on the ball. When
mm,
you hit the ball, I mean, people are like really like, wow, now it really feels like I'm hitting a ball.
okay.
So I think they upgraded the audio on, when you hit a pitch and stuff like that. So
Wow.
um, little things like that. It's nothing major. You know what I'm saying? It's just those little tweaks every year that they do that just enhance the game and just makes it better. And the gameplay is always there. You just see more refinement of it, and that's what they're really good at. I don't know if it's because they're spoon feeding us every year. Like
Mhm.
we're not making grand changes, like but small little changes in dosages, and it's been over a decade now. The same
Right.
the same people doing it.
Right, right,
Giving you
right.
this. I mean, imagine if they had like another title. Like, imagine if they were in charge of something else.
Mm. Do
You know what
you
I'm saying? Like, if they nurtured the game like they do this game, I
Yeah.
can't imagine what that game would be like.
Yeah. Do you think that they will ever go the way of even considering for a let's say for a season to maybe add to the current game but not develop a whole new quote unquote game just so that they could implement other stuff and kind of I'm not talking about a reboot, but I'm just saying, how sometimes games that come out year after year after year, it's like you just said, they tweak here, they tweak there. I mean, how much can you can you tweak these little
How
things,
much can you?
right? Until
Yeah,
until
like
you actually have
sort
to
of.
reboot.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. I mean, that'd be really interesting to like boot up a game from like 5 years ago and really point out the differences,
Mm-hmm.
right? Obviously, you're seeing more in the way of graphics and animations, um, and gameplay. The gameplay has gotten better. So now I'll give you a small example. Like right now, something new that they did this year was normally when you field the ball, you get to throw it back into like, let's say the runner's heading home, right? You throw it and there's a meter, right? And you got
Mm-hmm.
to try to hit that meter right in the center, right?
Mm-hmm.
To try to get a perfect throw into home plate. This year, what they did was they offset that meter. So now you kind of lose your timing almost because of the criticality of the throw. So
Mm.
it's no longer now you just have to hit it right smack in the meter. Now you have to, like make sure that it's like on the offset. So when it actually does land, it's on point, which is not easy because you're used to throwing it in the middle, right? And now you have to throw it at the offset the
Wow.
most critical time. So
Okay.
it's not it won't be in other words, it won't be the same, as you throwing it across the field on a ground ball. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mm.
little stuff like that to kind of add to the edge of the game that you're not just gonna throw a perfect, pitch, to the home if the guy's heading home. You're gonna have that small window of mistake.
So it sounds. I mean, to me, who I'm not like I don't follow it obviously every year, but it sounds like that's what brings the realism like into the
Hmm.
game where they're trying to simulate that circumstance, that situation, right? Where
Right.
you have to keep your composure. You got to make
Yeah.
sure that, hey, yeah, I got to make this throw spot on. And in the heat of the
Hmm.
moment, all I want to do is just smash the button and just get it to home plate, but now I got a meter I got to worry about. I got to worry about accuracy.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, and it doesn't feel arcadish. That's the main point.
Okay.
That it just doesn't feel like I'm gonna hit the ball. I'm gonna, guys complain, oh, the online play could always get better. Well, obviously you got lag to deal with, but
Right.
it definitely doesn't feel arcadish in
Mm-hmm.
the realm of, it feels repetitious. Every game could be different, from literally, and different results. You can play the same play 10 times, and you'll get 10 different versions of it.
And talking about the arcadish, is there a mode in there where it just turns all that off and you can play basically an arcade?
Yeah. The game comes in three modes. It comes in casual, simulation, and I think it's called legendary, in which obviously, it's like really hard.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the thing. You can pick it up and just play casually. It won't be so brutal when it comes to being accurate. The the ability to hit gets better and stuff like that. So, they definitely make it for anyone to just pick it up and play.
Mm.
That's like one of the first things they ask you. Are you a casual player? Are you a simulator, or are you like a, franchise owner or manager?
Okay. Okay.
And from there, you start your game and pick the team, your favorite team, and stuff like that. I mean,
Okay. Okay. So
it's just refreshing every year. It doesn't feel like, oh, they did this last year, oh, they did that, this year.
right.
It feels fresh every time.
Right. 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 That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I'm glad that they have that sliding scale and they keep it that way so you could jump in, play a little arcadey or play somewhere in between or tweak it and customize it. It's the accessibility is there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is
Uh,
definitely
I,
cool.
I just wonder what if you put this development team in another game?
Mm.
The possibilities of what that game could be. I don't know. Maybe they should try their hand at football. See how they
Mm.
rank up against Madden. What they
Right.
would do to Madden.
Right.
Because it's
Right.
just I don't know. I see this game, and I just don't see other sports titles run it the way they do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2K basketball, 2K. I was playing the NBA 2K on the deck, and it's like, damn, the game is still the same.
Right.
It literally feels the same. It feels like the computer's gonna beat your ass, and you can't get around the defense.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just, to me, it's in the class by itself for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't play the sports games for that reason. I refer to the computer beating your butt even when you're like,
Hmm.
scores ahead, whatever, if it's football, you're 2 touchdowns up and a field goal. If it's, baseball, you're up by 5 runs and it's like the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and, the Madden effect, right? Where the computer just goes
Exactly.
ballistic on you and just increases the difficulty, and you can throw the pitch outside and it's still gonna smack a home run off of you. It's just
Yeah.
it's frustrating. It's frustrating, man. But kudos to the people who are out there like you who are enjoying and continue to enjoy MLB the Show. Let me flip it over now to actual MLB, and I just stumbled across it that these rules, which are new but are not new because they're new to MLB, right? They're new to the major leagues, like a pitching clock. There's a timer now for a pitcher to like get set and throw the ball, and and the batter
Yeah.
to be in the batter's box. Like, what's that's all about, man?
Yeah, basically, speed up a slow game. Baseball could be very like methodical and time
Mm-hmm.
consuming. And it wasn't always like that. And it kind of molded itself to be like that. Baseball, I mean, yeah, baseball was always a 2 hour, at the minimum, a 2 hour game. Um, and when you started introducing shifts and players being more strategic about, how to play a player and stuff like that, the pitchers and timing a batter and stuff like that. It almost became like a cat and mouse type of thing, in which the batter calls timeout, now the pitcher calls timeout, and everyone's bored, in the stadium. And it's just like you lose attention, right? Everyone's attention span is like 15 seconds these days, right?
Right.
It's as long as a TikTok video. So,
Right.
in that respect, they just had to say, we got to make this game faster to keep it fresh. And so far, from what I'm seeing, it's a success. You're giving, I think the pitchers get some, couple, what is it, like 15 seconds or 10 seconds? I actually
Yeah, I think it's
seconds.
I think it's a little bit over 15 seconds for them to like actually get themselves set on the mound, not moving, so that it's not called a balk, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And
So if the pitcher doesn't pitch it within a certain time, it's called a ball. And if the batter is not in the batter's box by a certain time, it's called a strike automatically. And obviously the umpire is looking at the clock all the time. But it definitely speeds up the game. It makes it look more interesting because again, there's not so many breaks, right?
Right.
Everything's pick up the ball, pitch it, throw it. Is the runner on first going to run, or there's also a limitation on how many times you could throw it at first base.
Right.
So
yeah, that's another thing, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a limited amount of times you can throw it to. I mean, I remember watching games back in the days, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I remember watching games back in the days where, I mean, pitchers would throw to first, especially if you had somebody who was a speedster on first. They would throw it 10, 12 times, like in between every pitch. And it was just ridiculous, man. It was like, dang, like when are you going to pitch the ball? When are we going to get the game going? And that alone would just add minutes, and those minutes added up. And next thing you know, you're watching a baseball game for like 2.5, 3 hours. You know?
I mean, when watching the Yankees and Red Sox, I mean, those, you knew that you were going to get your money's worth if you went to the ballpark. Because you were going to be there at least 3.5 hours.
Yes.
I've seen Red Sox Yankee games 4 hours long.
Yes.
That even the announcers are like, we're just going to skip the
right.
the post game. We're leaving.
Right.
It was so damn late. Like minimum interviews. But I mean, it's fresh. It seems to be working so far. I think the advantage goes to the pitcher.
Okay.
Because he picks up more of a little bit of rhythm. So now he could just keep pounding the pitches there. The batter's the one that kind of likes to settle in, and he likes to do his little tweaks and stuff like that.
Right.
But a pitcher is normally ready to pitch. And you can mess with a batter's timing if you're throwing fastballs, and you're never letting him set, and all of a sudden you just drop a nice little curveball in there.
Right.
Make quick work out of him, and that's what you want.
Yeah, that's just bonkers, brother. I saw some capture, some video of actual like MLB games like early in the season, and batters, like you said, they were all off their timing. Pitchers were exploiting the clock. They were quote unquote set, and it was almost funny that the moment you would see a batter get in the batter's box and he would just look at the pitcher was already throwing the ball.
Winding up, yeah. I mean, the pitcher has to throw the ball too. So
right.
There is he literally does not have time either. So
right.
He needs to release that. He needs to go into wind up before the pitch, clock ends. So he can't just stand there waiting for the batter. He literally has to like mind his own clock.
Right. So what I'm understanding is like these rules didn't just come out of the blue. Like they've been implemented in like AA, and so there is a clock, and those things are just now transferring over to MLB to, like you said, to speed up the game.
Yeah, they're testing them on the minor leagues. I think it started in the single A's, and then it went up to double A's. And then, when the players started, when the idea came to fruition that, hey, we're going to implement in major leagues,
right?
You started seeing it in AAA more.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, it's good. I like it. Definitely like it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask you that. I said, how are you feeling about that? Like the game, just all these things being implemented. You think the game is gonna be better for it? It's not. I mean, there's definitely right now anything new that's introduced is always gets the kickback, right? But
Yeah, you're gonna have people like that. They're like, oh no, you're taking away from the strategy.
right.
The whole, the momentum of the game. You're ruining it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also been other things that are happening. The player shifts, in which certain players can only go
Yes.
so far on the fielding. So that kind of opens up to stubborn hitters that
Mm-hmm.
refuse to kind of, bunt the other way or slap the ball the opposite direction because no one's on that side of the field.
Right.
So you also have that as well. So it kind of, it adds to the whole new year in baseball,
Yeah.
and it's so far pretty good.
I, I'll tell you, as a person who has not watched an entire baseball game, like 9 innings in forever, hearing about these rules, understanding them a bit more, them being implemented, I'm all for it, man. Like I actually want to like watch a game now because I'm not afraid that I'm gonna be there for 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I think last night's game was about 2.5 hours, and it was a high-scoring game.
And there you go. And it's a high scoring game. So there's runs coming in. And I mean, I remember watching, again, games 2.5 hours long, and the score was like 2-1,
Two to
one
one.
zero. And no, and if
Yeah.
somebody scored like the second inning and then there was no more runs,
Mm.
that sucked, bro. I was
It really
like,
did.
dang, like this was painful for me to sit here and go through. Like there was no like I started thinking about the year that Sosa and McGuire were like,
Yeah.
slapping home runs like left and right. And I mean, and we know that they were on the juice because I remember Sosa and McGuire when they looked like human beings, and then all of a sudden they looked like Lou Ferrigno. I mean, they blew up, and but that was one of the most
Mark McGuire was scrawny.
yes, yeah, yeah, man, yeah. But that was one of the most exciting times in baseball. Like, it didn't matter if you was a fan or not. You were just hearing about these two, titans going after it every time that they went up to bat. It was exciting, man. People want to see scoring. They want to see plays. Yeah, I'm all for it, man. It's
I
exciting,
think
bro.
steals are up already to begin the season. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot more activity on the field as far as offense.
Mm-hmm.
Players have to play in that certain area, so they're
Right.
taking away the shift. You
Right.
know, um, Guys who run are really going to run because they know the pitcher could only throw there twice.
Right.
So that pitcher's not going to waste his time throwing over there,
Mm-hmm.
which allows them to kind of break free of running, because they don't have to rely on the amount of throws to the first base. Now they can say, all right, you throw here twice, you can't throw a third time. That's gonna let me run whenever I want,
Right. Right. So
and you can't throw it to first.
dang, that's just, I mean, it brings another element of strategy, right? I mean, you have to be smart about when you're going to throw. You have to be smart about time management. You have to be smart about getting yourself set, keeping a rhythm. I just think it brings a different strategy to the game, which is not bad.
Go back to where baseball was, before this, analytics and stuff like that. You know, I think we're really gonna go back to baseball to like the '70s,
Mm,
in which people are bunting, running, stealing, a
yeah.
lot of good, decent offense, and we hated it when a left-handed hitter would would hit a line drive to right field, and and the third baseman was there.
Yeah. I
What's
saw,
that? A third baseman on right field.
brother.
I
I
was
saw
like, what
some.
the fuck?
I saw some crazy shifts that teams would put before this rule was implemented, where you had like literally a wall between first and second base. I mean, you had the right fielder in, you had the shortstop shifted over to second baseman shifted over like to mid between first and second, first baseman over, and then you got the pitcher covering I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that anywhere. It's like even like football hasn't adopted something that crazy, right? Like you got your nickel, your dime,
Right.
your defense lines, and it's never gone to that extreme of shifting, right? Because you're kind of lining yourself up with them. But in baseball, it's just they went off on it. They were just like, hey, you know what? The numbers are saying this person's gonna hit it here 80% of the time.
Right.
The other 20% is gonna be the other way. We'll just stick one guy on that 120%. And
Wow.
it kind of hurt the game in my opinion. I didn't like it when I first saw it, and I started seeing Tampa Bay do it. That's when I started realizing, oh boy, this is not good.
And that was how long ago? Did you start picking up on that?
You know what? It's been. I think it hasn't lasted too long because people were complaining about it really quick.
Okay.
But I mean, David Ortiz was playing, so I mean, how far back that goes? At least 4 or 5 years, right? In 2004, man. Oh man, it's been that long. Wow.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So I mean, in the last 20 years or so,
Yeah.
kind of it went by quick, but
Yeah.
it's been like that for the last 20 years, and I'm glad it's changed back. I'm glad they kind of enforce it through.
Well, like you said, you just
I'm
said
all for it.
something. You just said something that struck a nerve with me. The statistics, right? The information that was being gathered on the probability of plays and hitters hitting a certain way and percentages and pitchers and this. I mean, it was just. I mean, right now, I know if a purist was hearing this and they're all about that, they're probably rolling over in their grave, screaming, pulling their hair out, and saying, "No, I mean that's what makes the game the game." But yeah, like I could never, and I'm just a filthy casual, right? I'm completely disconnected. I'm just amazed, to be honest, not just in baseball, but in football, how or in any sport, how all this data is captured and stored and calculated, and then it's used not only by the athletes and the coaches, but it's used, in arenas like gambling arenas, people who are really into this, and they're like, yeah, the probability of quarterback A throwing to wide receiver B and scoring is 2.1%, depending on the weather and the wind and all. It's just ridiculous, brother. To me, it's crazy.
Living off these statistics, honestly, they're literally living. For fun. I'm not a gambler by any stretch of the imagination. When we would take trips to Atlantic City, you know how they used to give you a roll of quarters?
Yes.
I used to keep the roll of quarters, and I was good. That was it. That was my gambling. Thanks for the roll of quarters. I'm done.
That's it. Yep.
Get back on the bus.
Right.
So I'm not a gambler. So during football season, I always get the itch. Oh, download the app to place a bet.
Right.
So for the whole fun of it, right?
Right.
And taking lead from my friend, he was showing me everything in this app, and I was just like, forget it. There's no way I'm gonna win.
Right.
The odds were so stacked against you that it
Right.
was just like, forget it. They know something, and they put all those those numbers there for that.
Yeah, it's wild. It is. The saying that goes, and it's so true. The house never loses, right? Or the house always wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no way you're gonna beat the house. That's just nuts.
I'm glad
man.
I'm not a gambler, to be honest with you.
Same here, brother. I'm not even tempted by it, bro. I like keeping my money and using it for useful things. So,
One of my favorite gifts is Dave Chappelle doing that Oprah Winfrey skit, in which he grabs his money and puts it to his chest.
Yeah, you be sending that picture on the Discord.
When it comes to money, hold
I've
my
never,
money tight.
man, I've never seen that skit itself, but now you got me curious about it. But hey, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right, man.
Basically, he becomes Oprah Winfrey's boyfriend, and like he treasures all the money she has.
There you go. That must be hilarious, man. Oh man, let me
So,
shift gears here. We're about
yeah.
halfway through, and if if you guys are listening after the fact, hopefully you're enjoying yourself. We've been talking about some MLB, the show, and also the actual MLB and these changes. And let us know how you feel about it. Put it down in the comments. We would love to hear. Are you in favor of it? Do you hate it? Are you even curious to watch baseball, or have you just given it up? What about the game? How you feeling about MLB 2023? What would you change, if anything? Just leave it in the comments below. I want to talk about E3 and the announcement that was made. And I knew this was going to happen. I don't think that anyone needed, clairvoyance, crystal ball. I was really, really surprised when the show was announced that there was going to be a E3. The first thing I thought was Nintendo hasn't been there for a minute. PlayStation hasn't been there for a minute. Xbox has its own like arena across the street from the event center, so they're not really there. Those are the three top dogs. Who was gonna be there, right? Like who was
I don't
gonna
have my
be at
ear
the
to the
show?
ground to that.
Was that?
I don't have my ear to the ground to that. What exactly is going on? Is there like a coup? Like, are they
No,
just
there's
like
nothing
revolting
going
against
on
E3?
now. There's
There's
nothing.
just nothing coming out. That's what it is.
No, no. People make the comment, and I agree to an extent that COVID really exasperated a lot of things and made people rethink and reevaluate. Work from home, work at a location. What did that look like? Being trapped in your home, not being able to be around others, and working remotely and all this other stuff. And the industry looked at it as well and said, hey, we could put these presentations of our games online. We can do a all digital show. People tune in from the comfort of their home. And the bonus is that if we have a demo, we can just release it that day and people can play along as they watch the show. I mean,
What a disservice to the fan that actually physically likes to be there and walk around and
yeah, yeah,
stand with bright lights and goodie bags and
right.
I mean I guess to the to the big three names, it's less money that's being coming out of their pocket as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean,
So I mean,
let's
for the
talk about that.
for the fans,
Let's talk about that. You've been to some shows, Comic-Con, right? Have you been to any of the pack
yeah,
shows?
no, no, I haven't.
Okay, but you've been to events, right? You've been to
Hmm.
Comic-Con, and you've been in that space, in that environment,
That
and
craziness.
yeah, but it's fun, right? I mean, you get to meet
Oh,
people,
of
you
course.
get to just interact, just being there. It's its
Hmm.
own thing, right?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people say the same thing about E3. Like it wasn't even so much what was being shown. I mean, that was definitely a big part of it at one point. But people just getting together and being there and getting some hands on, and not to mention like making the contacts, in the industry, up and coming indies as well, getting
Yeah, absolutely.
exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's so sad. I mean, I find that so sad, and I can't understand why the gaming industry wouldn't just kind of, feed into that. I guess
Right.
again, it has to be, the amount of money and just, you know, I can't believe that they're still fearing, COVID, but
Mm.
You know,
Well, I mean,
it has to be the amount of money being pumped into those things, into those events.
yeah, I mean, I really do think that it's that. I can't see any other reason why, other than it's definitely. I mean, not only the cost efficiency of it, but games, these AAA titles and these publishers, they're getting bigger and bigger. The budgets are getting bigger and bigger. Games are taking longer and longer and longer to produce. And we're talking about AAA titles, right? You know, it's an endeavor, it's an undertaking. And I thought about, how they would prepare for these shows on a yearly. And if you had a game that was in development, if it was a high profile game, it was expected of you to put some sort of demo to show off. I mean, I can't imagine. I've never developed anything in my life, but I can't imagine the pressure that would come with that, and the time consumption. So, I mean, I think we could look at it from both angles. I don't know. You with me on that one? Like, what would your take be about this event reinventing itself? How would that look? How if you was at the head of it, how would you reinvent E3?
I would definitely bring the fans, the people, man. That's the one. Those are I mean, those are the ones that kind of spread the buzz, right? That make the
Mm-hmm.
buzz. The whole, you know, yeah, you could broadcast it online, but I mean, I don't know. Like, it doesn't get the attention if it's just being held online as an actual event. Like Comic Con, or these are things that people go, oh, are you going? Are you going? That's the
Mm-hmm.
whole enticement of it. And whether these companies have things to show or not, they could always, you know there'll be some stuff in the bins to kind of show off.
Right.
I don't think that there's any lack of games or enthusiasm that they can't kind of show off and say, yeah, all right, we don't have nothing really big coming out, but hey, be part of this
Right.
whole you know product marketing that we got going on, and we want to continue to push it. I guess it just got too easy for them to just say, yeah, you need us.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get a system, yeah, and that's
Right.
what it is.
You do you think
Yeah,
a
I don't know.
show Do you think a show like E3 would benefit from shifting its attention? I mean, obviously Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, they left it years ago, and COVID solidified that. But do you think that it would benefit a show like E3 to reinvent itself and make it like an open forum for indie publishers, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, around the world, like to come and set shop and maybe not even offer that type of show online? Like, it would have to be an event that you would come to in order to get the scoop.
Yeah, it would have to start off small.
Mm-hmm.
That's how all grand things start. They all start small. They don't start huge and grand. You know what I'm saying? You would have to kind of, you know, set up a tent, and invite the people to come and see and touch and smell and run around, and if you have to hold it just to indie developers that you have a plethora of, you could fill out booths like nothing with all the indie developers, right? You don't have the big names there, but that's okay because there's a plenty. I look at Steam all the time, and there's just so many, like, indie games that you could dabble in, and you could fill up a tent, with all these gamers, and then you go into the hardware, part of it, in which you got 3D printing, you got regular computers and case models, and all. You can make a little event out of it. Start off small,
Right.
and then grow from there. I mean,
Right.
E3 wasn't big all the time. It grew big,
Right.
right?
Right.
As they needed your attention, they
Mm-hmm.
would pull out more lights and bubbles and balloons.
Yeah, yeah, and with the change in social media, and now pretty much anyone and everyone being an industry reporter. I mean, I could go there with my
Exactly.
phone, and start up a stream and be there live reporting from E3, 2023, and put my own show on the internet for my own, fans and whatnot. And I think that's where, like you just said, it was never always a big event. It became big, but it really didn't adapt to the times, and then people started figuring out, hey, we can do our own thing. And it's much less expensive than, renting out a spot where I have to kind of set up a tent and set up all this stuff and whatever, and then pay, for this overhead. I'm not trying to badmouth or say that I would want E3 to go away forever, but I would hope that they would reinvent themselves, rethink and say, hey, maybe, like you said, we can start off small again, and let's make our focus, the indie developers, and let's make it a local thing. And then if we want people from the outside to come, they could come and make it accessible. Like, I know that it was expensive from what I hear from people that have gone. It was expensive to get into E3, to book hotels and to be there and to get into the actual event, and it was pricey. So yeah, I'm curious. Have you ever heard of Summerfest? And maybe I lost Henyo. So I'm just gonna keep chatting here.
No. Is my audio back?
Yeah, you're good. I hear you. I thought I lost you.
Okay.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Summerfest?
No, I've never been to E3, and I've never heard of Summerfest.
Okay, so Summerfest is put on by Jeff Keighley. I think his real name is like Geoff Keighley or something, but he goes by Jeff Keighley. He's been in the industry forever, and so he puts on not only like the Game Awards at the end of the year. He's the one that's been hosting that event for several years, and it slowly has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. But Summerfest is an all digital event, and he has like people on there from the industry. He does interviews, he does, world premiere reveals and all this other stuff. And a lot of people are making the comment now, like saying, okay, well, now Jeff Keighley, who's been one of those individuals who has, and I don't know this as a fact or not, who has really been against E3 because E3 has been so antiquated or whatever. These are my words, not his. But basically, he set up this Summerfest and this digital, presentation that he does during the summer and showcasing games, as now it's going to be the thing that's going to take over E3. And I'm just curious, even in our conversation that we've been having, I don't know how I feel about that, about it becoming an all digital thing, and never having an actual show. I wouldn't want someone to monopolize, a presentation of anything. I want it to be as diverse and as open as possible. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think this guy got it already set up and has been doing it for years? You think the way of the world and social media and all that other stuff is just inevitable, that it's just going to remain online?
Yeah, it's really hard, and I could attest to this because literally, I'm the only one that goes into the office. I don't mind going to an office. I've always been a social person, in the office, water cooler type, you know. Um, do I wish to work from home? Of course. I wanted to work half of the week from home, and I have that ability now. But I think it's just important, the whole human interaction part of it. If you're just gonna take the whole interaction away and you're just gonna stare at a screen, I mean, from your home, I don't see the fun in that. Excuse me. That's just who I am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I never like really entertained those things.
yeah, and I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because I'm an introvert. Like, I love being home. I'd rather be home than anywhere else. Do I need those times in my life where I need some social interaction? I think the older I've gotten, the more I realized I need to be around one or two people. Like, I don't want to get old and gray and not have someone other than my spouse to talk to. Someone that I can relate to, someone that we can chat and just, chew the fat, shoot the breeze. Yeah, it's necessary. I'm with you there. Even as introverted as I may be.
Yeah, I everyone grows up. Everyone's gone their own separate ways. Do I miss hanging out? I don't need to hang out every weekend. Once a month, I'd be happy hanging out once a month with my friends.
Yeah, yeah.
But I can't even corral them. I think the closest thing I get to hooking up with friends is Super Bowl.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
Once a year.
Wow.
Yeah. Social interaction.
Not even me, bro. I don't even watch like the Super Bowl like that no more. Like, I think I was just chatting with my wife and my brother the other day, which I hardly get an opportunity to see. He's not like in another state. He's a couple of miles from me. But I was chatting with him and I said, the means of podcasting, the means of communicating with people through media, it fills me, it satisfies me. It's something that I enjoy. I enjoy doing. It comes natural to me. I know it's not like actual socializing, but being on this mic and being able to just, again, talk about trivial things, talking about MLB, talking about E3, talking about stuff that's really not going to impact our lives. It's fun. It's interesting, and it's my way of connecting.
And I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Honestly, there has been no real like interaction with friends.
Yeah.
Unless something like this comes across.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really hard to connect with people. It really is. Physically, I'm saying.
Yeah. No, most definitely.
I don't want to do it on a social platform.
No.
I don't want to be on Facebook. I don't want to do it on Instagram.
Yeah, no. There, like I said, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I'm with you on that. Especially as I'm getting older, you need that physical presence of someone there, and even if you share 2 words, it's just good to be around someone else. You know what I'm saying? Another human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the office, there are very few people there, and the people that are there are like, I'm around them. I'm like, hey, how you doing? They're like, oh God, get away from me.
Right.
Wear a mask.
Right.
It's just not my opportunity to be outside the house and just connect with people. And can't do it like that. Then we do it like this, till people come around.
Yeah. Well, hey, brother. With that said, I think it's a good place for us to wrap it up. We've been
It's a good thing I don't live in Florida either.
Yeah, right? Why's that?
Keep coming over.
Man, Jay says the same thing. He's like, brother, man, if I was down there, forget it. We'd be at each other's houses every other day playing games and whatnot. And I'm like, dude, I'm sure that it would be much more doable. Because, I don't, like I've said it here before, I don't have like friends around me. I have people that I know and whatnot, but not hanging like that. So, but ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm glad we got to connect tonight. It's a good conversation.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad you're keeping up with this. I know it's not an easy thing. It's a labor of love, and I just want to let you know it's appreciated, man. And I hope you continue your way.
I appreciate it, man. I'm encouraged. It keeps me sane. Even when I'm talking to myself on other podcasts, it's just, I said on another podcast that I do, that I get on a mic and I'm speaking to you. And I don't know how many people are going to hear this, but even if one person hears